For this episode of Space Engineers, we're going to be running over the list of mods for the survival playthrough. These mods are a hand-picked list for me that personally fit my playstyle, so keep in mind they might not be for everybody. I've aimed to keep these immersive and healthy for the game, and keep the heart of Space Engineers in mind, and personally the game wouldn't be the same without them. Please keep in mind this setup is meant for a dedicated server. Anything outside of that is not in my experience. I'll tread lightly when attempting something else with them. With that said though, many of, if not most of these should work single player. Quick disclaimer, this video has a lot of strobing effects, transitions, and flashing lights. Please be very careful when watching this video or skip it if necessary. Firstly, if you're unfamiliar with how to install mods, we're going to be doing a quick run through for Gportal setup. If you're familiar with it already, go ahead and skip ahead to the next section that I'll have highlighted. To install mods onto a dedicated server through Gportal, you'll need the ID of all the mods you want. This is done by looking at the mod menu in the Steam Workshop page, right-clicking and copying the page URL. Towards the end of that URL, there'll be a number. Delete everything but that number, and that's how you get the ID for it. When adding in the mods to the Gportal Mod section, make sure it goes row by row with only the ID. I'll have an exact copy of my mod folder in the description, so you can either copy the whole list or choose the ones you like. Quick disclaimer that some of these load orders will matter, and I'll point those out as we go. Starting from the top of the mod list, we're going to be looking at Modular Encounter Systems, Exploration Enhancement Mod, Air Traffic, and Vanilla Planet Crashed Ground Encounters. The first two are going to be the backbone of all ship and NPC spawning with the factions. You will have an active reputation with these factions, and what you do with them will count. This includes civilians, companies, police, military, pirates, and more. The last two will control ships around you while you're on a planet. Air traffic will allow ships to enter orbit and fly near you, sometimes even too close if you want to get territorial or try and snag a ship. And crashed ground encounters will allow you to find ships that have crashed into the planet. Rich HUD and configurable speed also go hand in hand. The primary use for these two is increasing player and ship speed to your choosing. Be very careful with this one, as physics will start to get wonky the faster you go, and controlling yourself and ships will be much harder. Defense shields and NPC shields will also be a duo. Defense shields are essentially energy shields that are slightly configurable and protect your ship from incoming ships and projectiles. However, it is not guaranteed, and an asteroid could very well make it through and damage your ship if it's put under too much stress or that you're going too fast. NPC shields does what it sounds like. It gives NPCs a defense shield, so it's not a one-sided battle if you're looking to attack them. Nanobot Auto Repair and Build System is one that is extremely quality of life mod for me, but some might say even too much. It builds anything you place as long as it has the materials and it's in range. However, its range is pretty large and its power consumption is a little bit low, so this could be debatable. I personally still feel that it is an essential part of the mod list. If you use too many in a server, they can also be capable of making it lag a little bit, so keep that in mind. The Heavy Industry update broke nabs and requires a patch for it to work. Keep in mind this must be loaded above the main mod. However, I have heard that the main mod is back online and fixed completely. However, I've still heard reports of sections of it not working, so I'm going to include it anyway, as I've had it working with the patch no problem as of yet. Weapon Core is a massive overhaul to the entire weapon set in the game. This will replace all vanilla weapons with Weapons Core version, and add in a few more, including but not limited to the railgun, octobeam lasers, obelisk, etc. The very nice mod set to have as it polishes the weapon mechanics and gives you a little bit of variety. I personally like my worlds to be a little bit more challenging, and thus almost none of my planets will leave you alone. To accomplish this, I've used a Mars Golem mod and a Rogue Robots mod for the moon. These enemy NPCs will almost constantly attack you and cause you grief. It's completely fair to leave these ones out, as they are quite literally a pest. Dynamic Modular Thrusters is a mod that adds in a new thruster type and many configurations for it. The main thing that's very nice about this is all the sizes and shapes that you can have for the thrusters. This mod does, however, work in both space and atmosphere, and they're not terribly expensive, so it can be seen as a little bit overpowered. High-tech solar arrays essentially add in stronger solar panels for a bit of green power variety. I had a friend who liked to focus on solar power, so this was a very nice addition to ramping up solar panels to provide a little bit more of a stable battery bank. stronger oxygen farms is definitely one of the more overpowered ones, as it sets your oxygen farms to produce times 100 with only a times 10 power consumption. I personally felt oxygen farms weren't viable compared to ice, and while it may be overpowered, I personally enjoy the capabilities of producing more oxygen. Following that is a hydrogen farm. Very similar to an oxygen farm, but simply produces hydrogen. We also want a system capable of producing hydrogen that wasn't just ice as well. Atlantean transporters are small teleports that can be assigned to each other as long as you're on the same grid. These allow instant teleportation to another station, making them very convenient. However, they can downplay the need for creations like elevator and monorail systems, so use at your discretion. Tiered oxygen and hydrogen bottles are a simple mod. It simply allows a stronger bottle that holds more. Stackable wind turbines. On the title, literally just makes it so there's a stackable wind turbine version. I personally feel like this was a fair mod, as I don't really ever see a reason to not allow this. The pole parts mod allows a new design of blocks that come in variation of poles. This is very nice for decor and ambient builds. Extreme lights are another extreme quality of life mod, no pun intended. I personally found it rather strange that lights were either forced into massive amounts just kind of put everywhere, or spotlights which were a little bit centered. I mean, they were manageable, but I personally just did not like having to manage that system. I'm an ambient light builder, so a lot of my builds were simply too large to allow spotlights and normal lights to take up that space. The middle gate extension is as it sounds. This adds a middle gate to allow larger / modular gates to be crafted. Clean windows is as it sounds. It literally just gets that dirty gunk looking off the windows and provides a clean window. The soil tool mod allows different types of soil to be placed, as well as removal from soil around like your builds and stuff without damaging your builds. The health and energy sticks mods put sticks in the game that you can craft, and they will heal or recharge you for either 25 or 50 depending on the ones you build. Very nice addition to be able to keep working without heading to a med station too often. Around while inside of it. Welder strobe reduction is a nice mod that simply makes it easier on the eyes when using the welder. The HUD compass mod puts a compass at the top of your screen while you're on a planet. This makes coordination a little bit better and directions with friends a little bit easier. The grid power chart mod is actually a script, and you put it on your LCDs to see your power use and consumption better. The game might give you a warning saying it doesn't work. I have had that happen, but for me it still does work, so keep that in mind. A huge thanks to all the mod and content creators out there. This game wouldn't be where it's at without them. They add so much to the game and it gives it so much character, so a big thanks again. Hopefully this mod list suits you guys, or you're at least able to snag a few from it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'm excited to see what you all come up with.